Hey everyone, Monstacular here for Hyperion Television. We've got a great game today for you between NesTea and Huk here on Lost Temple. We're going to go right into the game now. Liquid Huk spawning as the red Protoss at the 3 o'clock position, and up here at 12 o'clock is NesTea, the blue Zerg, already sending out an Overlord to begin scouting his opponent. Now both players very well known, very well respected. Liquid Huk, of course, plays for Team Liquid, has been #1 in the North American servers, and just a very well liked and excellent player from North America, a very well known player here in the US. NesTea, meanwhile, winner of GSL Season 2. He beat Fake Boxer Foxer in Game 7 of the Best of 7 Series Finals there at GSL Season 2, and GSL Season 3 was eliminated in the round of 8, so obviously progressed very far there to reach that point. Both players very high level. We're going to go right to the game here. Huk putting up his first pylon and immediately sending out a fast probe. Huk known for aggressive scouting and aggressive behavior with his first probe there, so we'll see what he does. Looks like he's going to check, nope, miss that Xel'Naga tower and just start checking the clockwise position here. He's going to miss his opponent. Interestingly enough, NesTea's first Overlord going not to close air positions as you often see Zerg players do on Lost Temple. Instead, choosing to go check the close ground positions, and the reason NesTea is doing this is likely to make sure that he does not have close ground positions, because against a Protoss opponent, you've really got to worry about that as a Zerg player, because proxy pylons can go around here and here, and if they're placed here, they can start warping units across this gap here and start putting cannons around, and it just starts to get very dangerous for a Zerg player who's trying to fast expand with his close ground positions. And just very difficult to expand for a third base as well, because this gold base is just nowhere for a Zerg to go, because Protoss can then again just warp units up onto here, so it's just a very tough spot. So NesTea wants to make sure he does not have that close ground positions. Back at NesTea's base, just throwing down his spawning pool now at about 14 supply. Meanwhile, back at Huk's base, he's throwing down a fast forge, so interesting play from him. No gateway first. Forge first could mean cannon rush, or perhaps going to be a fast expand build from Huk's. We'll see what happens as Huk's probe is about to scout his opponent, so we'll see if he starts throwing down pylons for some kind of cannon cheese. We'll see what happens here. For those interested, this replay was downloaded from the Team Liquid weekly replay pack they put up from about 2 weeks ago. So patch 1.2 was not in effect at the time this replay was made, so apologize for that. We'll try to get some more high-level replays now that that patch has come out and see how the matchups have adjusted. Meanwhile, NesTea able to get his fast hatchery down at his natural expansion on about 15 supply after he got that spawning pool and extractor up. Huk was just unable to block that hatchery like he probably would have wanted to. Back at Huk's base, we do see NesTea's second Overlord has in fact come to the closed air positions, found Huk's base, and he does see the forge, the gateway, and more pylons going down, so he sees how late that gateway is. He knows he's safe from attack, so NesTea is going to very easily start building drones and start working on establishing his second hatchery at his base, rather than worrying about an early attack from Huk. So NesTea's queen about halfway out now, a little bit more than that. First Zealot in production now for Huk. A couple of Zerglings out for NesTea, so it looks like we're not going to see any kind of cannon rush from Huk, who looks like he's actually hitting his probe down to the grass over here. And that first Overlord of NesTea's is going to fly right on by and probably position himself above the natural expansion. And here comes a defensive photon cannon from Huk. Good positioning there, of course. If he's going to choose to take a natural expansion in just a few minutes, that cannon's going to give him a good line of fire on Zerglings that might come through here. So good position for that cannon to start out. The Zealot, of course, positioned perfectly to make sure that no Zerglings can brush by. NesTea bringing his Overlord up now just to make sure that everything's looking okay up here at the nexus of Huk, and he does see that both assimilators have been taken. Meanwhile, NesTea has brought his first queen down to his natural expansion, which is finished, injecting that larva. Second queen just about to pop out as more larvae finish up, and here comes a round of drones from NesTea. So like we said, we saw that forge, so no aggression coming from the Zealot, or excuse me, from Zealots, from that Protoss player early on, so we're just going to make drones. Zergling speed being researched as well. Huk coming back in with the probe again. NesTea moving the queen to block it, and oh, looks like he's actually going to catch that probe in a bit of a tight spot and take that probe out. Not too much seen by that probe, just saw that the natural expansion has been completed. Queens are there, drones are there now. And here comes the Spine Crawler as defense. And of course, as a Zerg player, you want to get that Spine Crawler up as early as possible. If you know that you're gonna build Spine Crawlers, you really want to get those up as soon as you can, because if you don't, if you throw them down as your opponent is attacking you, they just take so long to build. It's just 50 seconds. It's just not enough time. A player will traverse the map and kill you. So you need to have those Spine Crawlers up and ready before they arrive. And here goes a Roach Warren now from NesTea. Glad to see that. Roach is a very effective unit against a lot of Protoss players. Here comes a couple of Zerglings now. Speed's finished. They zap in there, and as you can see from NesTea's camera, he did spot that Nexus going down for Huk. So Huk trying to take that expansion now. Looks like he's going for some sentries here. Another sentry in production, actually chrono boosting out rather than chrono boosting Workgate Tech, chrono boosting on an attack level 1 weapons upgrade from his forge. Workgate Tech is just about to finish up there from Huk. A second gateway, now a third, almost completed, and here comes the Workgate's going to be opening up shortly. Interesting move from NesTea. Now we see 10 roaches in production. A lot of times you'll see players get 5-6 roaches as a defensive measure and kind of just use those 6 roaches as defense while they macro up, get some more drones, as we do see NesTea now taking 2 more extractors at his natural base. But here comes a decent number of roaches. 4 in production now still, on top of the number that he already has. Let's look at the worker count real fast. 31 probes to 33 drones. Meanwhile, 10 roaches to 5 sentries and 1 zealot. So Huk in a bit of a difficult spot here. Looks like he's trying to push out with these 5 sentries. He's going to get caught here if he's not careful with his large roach numbers. And look at these force fields coming down. Excellent force fields from Huk with just a handful of sentries. He's actually focused, and look at that, walled off completely all of these roaches. He needs to pull back quickly, though. Zerglings are starting to make it through. Oh, no. Here comes some Zerglings now to catch up. The force fields did go down. Those are excellent force fields, but I think these sentries are going down. 1 sentry pulled back, and here goes Huk now in a very, very bad position now on the back foot here. He does have that 1 cannon here to defend him, but look at all those roaches and even some Zerglings in now. Just a couple of sentries and stalkers here. Warping in another sentry now. Huk is going to need a really, really clutch play right now to win this game. And here comes some more force fields from Huk. Look at this. NesTea trying to squeeze through that positioning. He just can't quite get through. The cannon firing down on there, trying to bring that Overlord in position to give him ground rage. He's got range of the cannon now, firing on that cannon. More stalkers are in here. Another cannon finishes for Huk, though. Firing now on those roaches. The stalkers are holding at the ramp. And look at this. Here comes some probes now. And looks like Huk is actually going to be able to hold this off. That cannon doing massive damage. It does go down. Both cannons are down. More zealots being worked in now, and these stalkers have come in and saved the day. And with just a couple of units to spare, Huk is going to hold off that very well-timed attack from NesTea. Really, really strong play. And here comes the robotics facility now. Wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see an Immortal come out now to retaliate against all those roaches we just saw. Wow, fantastic play. Here comes an observer now from Huk. He's going to try to get a better view of his opponent's base. But wow, what a great timed attack from NesTea with all those roaches and Zerglings, but just a couple of excellent force fields. And NesTea probably should have pulled back because that cannon was just raining down fire. Another cannon over here attacking, and it was just too much for NesTea's army there. But a very good hold by Huk there. And actually, look over here. We see at the 9 o'clock position, NesTea trying to take a 3rd base. As we talked about, difficult for Zerg to take 3rd base on close ground positions, but because it's close air, easy access to that 9 o'clock base. But here comes the observer now from Liquid Huk, spotting the Zerglings here. The Zerglings are going to dart out as there are enough zealots and sentries and stalkers there to kind of scare those off. And now that observer is going to get a good view of things. And now NesTea appears to be a bit on the back foot as well of zone here, as he's put down 3 spine crawlers in a defensive stance here. A little worried about a counterattack from Huk, as he should be, because he just lost his entire army of roaches there to Huk's army of just stalkers and sentries and zealots. So needs to be careful. Huk first scouting here, the gold expansion, making sure that no gold expansion has been taken yet. Here comes some Zerglings now trying to hide. There's an Overseer there. Oh, and some stalkers have spotted this Overlord. These Zerglings have nowhere to go, and a couple more force fields. Huk showing no mercy with his sentries. He's not going to let any units get away if he can find a way to force field them. And took out a couple of Zerglings. Here comes the observer now over the base of NesTea. Let's take another look at the unit tab here. It's 61 drones to 43 probes. So let's take a look at the income now. And it shows that NesTea is up by about 500 minerals per minute on that income tab. So NesTea starting to pull ahead now with his income. And his 3rd base has finished transferring drones now. Let's look at Huk's camera. Does he have any vision? No, he has no way of seeing those drones going. And here's an observer now. Oh, and he's actually caught. That Overseer just happened to be there. And a squad of Mutalisks did come and take those off. Oh, and interesting. We see a Twilight Council coming down now for Huk in the production tab. Looks like we might be seeing some charged zealots, blink stalkers. Mutalisks are down here now trying to snipe out that cyber core, trying to make sure that no more stalkers can be built with this group of stalkers. Large number. Wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see Blink being researched. That's a lot of stalkers, and Blink stalkers would be perfect counter to all these Mutalisks that we're seeing from NesTea. 5 in production already on top of what we already see. Flyer attack level 1 being researched at the Spire as well. So going to see some Blink stalkers. There goes Blink now being researched. I'm not sure if I like this composition from NesTea right now with all these Mutalisks. Very strong, but even though that Blink Stalker action is going to be too much for him, I think at some point, once Blink finishes researching, those Stalkers are going to be very mobile and could quickly snipe a lot of Mutalisks. So NesTea going to have to be careful. And look, taking a 4th base now is NesTea, also destroying the rocks at the gold expansion. So we'd be seeing a double expansion coming from NesTea, as Huk is still only on 2 bases right now. So Huk's going to need to step up his expansion soon here, or he's going to quickly fall behind. He's already behind 74 drones to 50 probes, so lots of drones from our Zerg player trying to poke in here. Loses some Mutalisks there carelessly. A couple cannons well positioned by Huk, and he's got those Stalkers there. Now Chrono boosting out Blink, so he really wants to get those Blink Stalkers out on the field so he can blink up and down between these two cliffs to get back and forth as those Mutalisks continue to harass him. And here goes the Mutalisks now, going to finish off those rocks so he can take another base. And look at all these spine crawlers. I think NesTea is realizing how many drones he has. 84 drones now. I think he realizes he has probably a few too many right now, so he's trying to find a way to use them up and might as well do something useful with them and build some spine crawlers. Evolution Chambers now double Evo Chambers, getting the melee attacks level 1 and the carapace. Here goes a decent Stalker army now. Let's look at the units. Yeah, 20 Stalkers to 21 Mutalisks. Interesting to see who would win that fight. Oh, and look, Templar Archives has finished as well. Psionic Storm being researched. A couple of High Templar are in. Chrono boosting out Psystorm. Still no Kaidaran Amulet upgrade, though. So those High Templar are going to need to kind of gather their energy. Flyer attack level 2, finishing for Huk in a little bit here. He just started that. Here goes the Mutalisks now coming in, taking out a few of these cannons. That's a lot of Mutas, though. They're going to fire on those cannons. Watch the blink right here, guys. It's going to be big if he's able to get a good blink off. And there he goes. Snipes one Mutalisk and probably does some pretty heavy damage to the others. Let's take a look at the health there. Yeah, a few of those are in red life right now, so NesTea is aware that blink is finished now, though. He saw those Stalkers do that blink, so he knows it's out there. A possibility. More Zerglings now for NesTea. Mita and Zergling right now. No Baneling nest from NesTea, though, so no Banelings. Oh, and here's an engagement now with the Stalkers and the Mutalisks. Looks like the Mutas are trying to take on the Stalkers, but that Stalker count. Oh, and another good blink and a one-shot on those Mutas, and just too many Mutas went down there trying to take on those Stalkers, and not a lot of damage done to those Stalkers. A few went down, but man, those Mutalisks took a lot of damage. Here comes some reinforcing Mutas, though. Still a lot. And look at this Observer here, catching everything. Another attack going on down here. Now Zealots coming in. Those Zerglings were mismatched against those Zealots, who have +1 attack already, and the Zerglings just have +1 carapace. Not going to be enough to stop that many Zerglings. Plus, here come the Stalkers now. Oh, and the Stalkers blink again, catch another Mutalisk, and the Mutas are forced to pull back once again. Psionic Storm has finished. And look at this Observer again, perfectly spotting everything right here on Huk's vision. He sees the Zerglings here, he sees the Mutalisks here, he knows exactly what's going on. He's already bringing his Stalkers into position here, so before Huk or NesTea can even begin to move in with his Mutas, Stalkers are already up on the cliff, and NesTea has to be wondering, how are these Stalkers already on top of me like this? I thought I was trying to be aggressive here, and instead he's having a very hard time finding ways to be aggressive. Here comes more Zerglings now, but they're just running right into a wall of Zealots, and it's just not going to be enough. Stalkers once again tiptoe down the cliffs, and here are the Mutalisks finding more trouble. Another one gets sniped, and here's that Observer still giving good vision to Huk. But we got to be careful here because we can't count out NesTea as he's got his gold expansion up. This base is also up. This base is up in mining, so he's got 5 bases right now, potentially mining if he brought the drones. Here goes an attack now for Huk, but look, the Observer is giving him position. He sees that there are